I do have a prayer.
Okay, yep, Jim?
Dear Lord, let us pray for the President and First Lady for a speedy recovery, and for all those who have survived the pandemic. For the doctors, nurses, and health care professionals, for the firefighters, police, and emergency medical workers, for those who serve in the armed forces, for a greater appreciation and love of all humanity, for calm in the midst of fear, for grace to overcome adversity. Gracious and loving God, you are our comforter and hope. Strengthen us in this time of need. Inspire us hope for a brighter future. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jim. Okay, Jerry, or,
Jerry, that's the first two.
okay.
Sorry, put it in the wrong folder. Okay, on the 29th, I approved the vouchers of $1,591.77 in vouchers from the juvenile court that should have been included in the financial resolution number 20-113, and a negative $3,360 from water resources to Squires, Patton, and Boggs for a voucher that should not have been included in the financials. And then on the 30th, I approved the supplemental appropriation transfers from the Commissioner's Office to correct a clerical error, and appropriation transfer from the auditor to move funds needed in other accounts within the Coronavirus Relief Fund, and a revenue certification from the auditors in the Coronavirus Relief Fund for additional revenue expected from the state.
Okay,
And then on October 1st, I approved for water resources the reclassification of Jacob Nottingham to the position of full-time seasonal help at the rate of $10 per hour to be effective October 1st, 2020 through April 30th, 2021 for up to 13 weeks, not to exceed a combined total of 960 hours.
okay. Thank you, Jerry.
Hold on, Adrian. Yeah, I have 9:15,
Oh, the
so let's do the
public hearing.
public hearing.
Okay.
And we'll come back to financials.
Okay, so it's 9:15, we will, open up for public hearing number 2, right?
No, we're gonna go down to, all the way down to.
But is this the second public hearing?
Yes, this
Yeah.
is public hearing number 2, it's number
Yeah.
9 on the agenda.
Okay,
And, do I have a motion to waive the reading of the legal notice?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeVore?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer?
yes,
Okay.
great. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good, very good. So, second hearing, again, these are the regulations to update them from 2017, to make sure they're compliant with the Ohio EPA Construction General Permit and the county's NPDES Phase 2 permit. Most of the changes primarily are on the engineering side of how to determine water quality and the various ways to calculate and things that can be used for water quality, stormwater in the permit. So those are the bulk of the changes, along with some typos and some cleanup.
Okay, very good. Is there anyone from the public here today that would like to speak on the matter? No? Okay. Any questions from the board?
I'm good.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Close the public hearing then at 9:16.
Okay, at 9:16, we will close this hearing.
And we do have a, motion to adopt the Geauga County Water Management and Sediment Control Regulations as amended 2020 to be effective November 6, 2020.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeVore?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. All right, very good. Thank you for your work. Appreciate that. Yes, 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 lot happening. Lots happening. Okay, Adrian, financials. Good morning.
Morning. Okay, today's financials include an appropriations transfer from the Commissioner's Capital Transfer Account to the Common Police Court for equipment needs in the court that were supposed to have received funding during the supplemental, but we're not. We talked about this
Yep.
at their budget.
Yep.
There's also a transfer to the sheriff for COVID and other miscellaneous reimbursements that were deposited into the general fund. And I also, Ron called me last night asking to put in a supplemental as well in the coronavirus relief fund for the additional monies that we received from the state.
Okay, so
So-
that has arrived?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
As of this morning, early this morning.
And what's that total amount?
It's about 3.3 million, a little over that, 3.374 or something like that.
Okay, and in combination with our first round, what was the first round?
The first round was,
There was-
800,000?
There was a first round that was a little over 800,000. and the
Then we
second
got
round
another
was a little over
800,000.
400,000.
yeah, what was it, 400?
It was the second
Okay.
one.
8 and 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is 3.3.
Yeah, the one this morning was 3,374,711.
Right.
Okay.
So then this, and we did the revenue certification back last week.
Mhm.
The Budget Commission approved that on Monday, so this is the appropriations from that, so.
Very good.
Okay, and then there's cash transfers from the general fund to the Department of Development, Community Development for their third and fourth quarter 2020 funding request. And also cash transfers from the Coronavirus Relief Fund to various departments to reimburse them for unbudgeted expenses incurred as a result of the pandemic in accordance with your resolution of acceptance 20-114. And among the encumbrances is the then and now from JFS to Ravenwood for clinical services rendered in August that were not previously encumbered. And among the vouchers are $24,710 from the auditor and the COVID-19 Relief Fund to Armored Resistance Mechanisms Incorporated for the Treasurer Office Barrier System. $111,342.45 from the Engineer's Office to Gill Farms LLC and David Diggers Incorporated for drainage improvements work at Russell Road and Bell Street. $38,400 from JFS to the Board of Mental Health for Therapeutic Youth Center Services from July and September. And then $43,735 from maintenance to Southwestern Communications for Safety Center security, computers, and system upgrades. And finally, revenue certifications from Water Resources in their sewer operating fund and Auburn Corners funds, and from the Commissioner's Office in our capital reserve fund.
Okay. Okay. So resolution number 20-114, that was for the CARES Act expenses
From last week, yes.
from last week. Okay.
So this is just the cash transfers that were to reimburse departments that had spent it out of their funds.
Okay. Very good. Okay, any questions, comments? None? If we could have a motion to approve financials?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Wentz?
Aye.
Okay, then the next item on the agenda is resolution of acceptance 20-118. For this one, there are no reimbursements to be considered. There is just proposed. So the total for this resolution is $372,549.26. That includes $25,816.89 from the auditor's office for the development of a web-based central service database to make online dog license purchases and board of revision valuation appeals easier to administer rather than having in-person visits to the auditor's office, and also a printer for remote working. And for the engineer, $1,191,279.46. This includes PPE, touchless restroom conversions, purchase of 4 additional chainsaws, 6 snowplow trucks, and 1 Ford F-550 quad cab mechanics vehicle, 1 mini excavator, 21 handheld radios, 108 leather and/or wooden chair replacements, and 1 desk to minimize cross usage, ensure social distancing, allow for disinfection between use, and also 6 laptops and docking stations for remote working. For the sheriff, it's $114,665.68 for the purchase of a 28-foot mobile training unit. That's a truck and a trailer to minimize in-person visits to the sheriff's office and exposure of the sheriff's office personnel. And for transit, it's $40,787.23. And this is for the purchase of a washer and dryer to avoid the workers having to bring contaminated items home to wash, touchless dispensers and receptacles, as well as disinfection equipment, chemicals, hand sanitizer, and 40 new touchless spare boxes.
Wow, that's quite a list. So could you read the, so I had originally saw these proposed items earlier, or last week, I believe, or late last week, and there was some question, I understand, so the number has gone down from last week, correct?
Yeah, the original request was for 10 snowplow trucks
Mhm.
and 1 mechanics vehicle.
Mhm.
So now it's 6 snowplow trucks and still the mechanics, the F-Ford 550.
Okay, so, yeah, because I think just the engineer alone was close to about 1.8 million when I saw the list last week.
For everything that they requested.
For everything.
Yeah, it's about 1.5.
So they've
for the
removed,
vehicles.
they've gone from 10 plow trucks to now 6 plow trucks?
Yes.
And how much roughly does a plow truck cost?
About 150.
Yeah.
150,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about 150. in
So
that
I
range.
guess I'm confused as to how or what the intent of this CARES Act money is for. Now, I don't want to be a party pooper or a stick in the mud here, but I believe there are some guidelines to as what this money is, the intent is for, correct?
Yes.
And I'm just going to read what the CARES Act, this is the short version. The CARES Act requires that the payments for the coronavirus relief fund only be used to cover expenses that are necessary expenditures incurred due to public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19. Also, were not accounted for in budget, most recently approved as of March 27, 2020. So this, what that means is it shouldn't have been something that was budgeted for, correct?
Correct.
Or currently in your budget. I have a hard time, and I know we've been trying to, put a square peg through a round hole here over the last few months, but this one to me, a mini excavator, I don't know how it relates to a public health emergency. I've talked to some people that, at the engineer's office, I talked to the engineer himself, and they had said that these were legal expenditures, that our prosecutor and our auditor had reviewed these expenses and that they were legal. And that's not what we're doing here today. We're here to say, are these reasonable expenditures? 10 plow trucks, although it sounds fantastic, and I think the reasoning to add, we're not replacing trucks, we're adding, six now.
Right.
But we're adding 6 trucks so that there can be a rotation so everybody gets their own plow truck. I mean, where does that end? I mean, we could say everyone gets their own copying machine and everybody gets their own, at some point, I feel like we're somewhat throwing the baby out with the bathwater here on some of this. And I've been told that, if we don't spend it, we're gonna have to give it back and somebody else will spend it for us. And that's, not something I can control, but
You're
can
just
control
responsible for
for here. And again, somebody is paying for this equipment and and I want Geauga County to take advantage of everything we can possibly get our hands on, because, if we've truly been impacted by this, we should get reimbursed for it. But, if we're just putting our wish list out there and putting COVID at the end of it somehow, and it's gonna pass the smell test, then, it just doesn't feel right to me personally. I understand as a commissioner, our job here is to try and take advantage and get as many resources for everybody we can within reason, but as a taxpayer, this kind of has gotten off the rails a little bit to me. So, with that being said, I would need to have some more reassurance that this is okay, because maybe I'm not understanding the intent. Maybe the intent is a stimulus package for the counties or the municipalities, and that's what this is for, or to help offset budgets that were impacted, which our budget was, knock on wood, and thank God to good conservative leadership, we have not been.
Right.
But,
And the auditor's office did reach out to the Office of Budget Management for an opinion on the purchase of these vehicles, and they have not received any reply back from them yet, either way.
okay,
So the 2 vehicles that we purchased last week, one for the auditor and one for the prosecutor's office, we did hear back from them prior to you approving those, that they were allowable and that they would not be challenged
Okay.
during the auditing phase.
So there is somewhat of a review board that takes a look at our requests then and says,
They
this is
can,
o-
yes.
Yeah,
We're not, like Jerry said this morning, we're not required to check with them.
okay,
But it does help us in the auditing phase when the state starts looking back on what we spent the money on.
yeah.
To have some assurance from the Office of Budget Management that these are allowable.
So in a year from now, when we are audited, that we're not gonna have somebody say, hey, this, come on, guys, this doesn't fit, and now we're on the hook for $1 million.
We should not, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, and, another thing that kind of
But
struck me.
we've not heard from them on these.
On this,
yet.
okay.
Yeah.
And, another thing, some of the other items I can, again, I can kind of go there, but in some of them, I don't see the relationship, but when you're adding equipment, especially equipment the size of, say, plow trucks, where now you're talking more maintenance, because we're not replacing them,
More
we're adding them.
insurance.
More insurance, are you gonna get more, is it more mechanic, more drivers, more, so, we're not necessarily just, trading one for the other here. We're adding, a separate pool. I understand the logic, I think, was to say, we're gonna rotate drivers so they don't have to drive the same plow truck within the same shifts or whatever, so they can keep the, but again, I think there's other ways to accomplish sanitizing a plow truck other than just saying, get us more plow trucks. I think you can clean the truck, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what all the steps necessary to do that. If everyone's talking about vinyl seats, needing vinyl seats and everything, so it's easily wiped down. I'd be more concerned about, say, the steering wheel and, the radios and all that kind of stuff being cleaned as well, but, again, I'm just gonna put it out there right now, unless there's some other type of, documentation showing that this is a recommended expenditure, that this is, somebody else is out buying new fleets of equipment, mini excavators, mini chainsaws, I don't know how that relates to the health emergency and how it's impacted us, so.
Right.
I don't know if we're looking for a motion today on all these items to move through or not, but.
Well, we do, we have, depending on what you want to have removed, we do have an alternate resolution available that removes the vehicles from the engineer's request.
Okay,
We removed the chainsaws, the snowplow trucks, the F-550, and the excavator, and then left the PPE, the bathroom conversion, the radios, the chairs, the desk, and the laptops. And do you have that one with you?
I do not have that
Okay.
one, no.
It reduced it down to a total of $307,474.13, taking the engineer's total to $126,204.33, down from that 1.191.
okay. I mean, so another issue with this CARES Act, it has to be encumbered, right, within a certain amount of time.
It has to be encumbered, with the new bill that passed, the encumbrance date has been moved back to November 15th, and the use of the funds date has been moved back to January 31st.
January 31st.
So in effect, we would have to take, whatever we order, we'd have to basically take delivery by the middle of January in order to process the payments. So we don't pay for stuff until we actually receive it.
Okay.
So but we did check, that was one of the things, that was one of the concerns that was brought up early on, was whether these would be delivered at that time. And we did talk with the engineer's office, and they said they are available to be delivered.
They are available.
They're in stock.
They're in stock.
Okay,
That's
okay.
essentially,
Yeah, because I mean, that would be,
We would be getting them by January, because if we go through this whole process and sign an agreement to purchase something, and if for some reason it doesn't get delivered until after that date, we're still gonna be, the county's still gonna be responsible for paying for that.
Okay.
Whether we have the CARES money.
yeah, because you'd have a contract with the vendor, they don't care about
Correct.
where the money's coming
And
from.
sometimes the lead time on these vehicles is over 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with the equipment business, and I
Right.
understand lead times, but they also, and I know that a lot of this stuff is specialized in the way, especially when you're dealing with governments, the bid list, it's got, they want this light and that siren and this seat and that, so there's a lot of items that they request within that bid, and it can take, up to a year sometimes to
Yeah,
take delivery on some of this stuff. So that they have them on the shelf is fantastic, and, but, I think the fact still remains, there's, I feel, I'm kind of torn on this because I don't want to, break up the party, like I said, this is a great opportunity and ability for the county to, especially for the engineer, to help offset some of their budgets and budgetary needs, and I know with the gas tax, there was definitely a drop in the amount of drivership out there, and I think it's going to impact some governments out there. But again, if I'm being honest with myself, unless maybe I'm not seeing it through the right lens, this doesn't fit.
Well, how I understand it, the process is that any department, like in our county or any other county, the county prosecutor and the auditor vet it. They look at it. If they have any questions, they go through the Ohio Budget Management down in Columbus, and that gives the yay or nay for the reasonable items or not being reasonable items.
Correct.
And a lot of this stuff, that the guidelines are cross-contamination. My background is, with township trustees and stuff, and Burton Township has 2 employees, and I think they have 4 or 5 trucks based on different tasks that they use. But I've ridden with the guys at night, and sometimes they're out in them snowplow trucks for 12, 14 hours or so, and then if the snow keeps coming, they sublet it to different companies and things like that. So I can only imagine the seriousness of the engineer's office when we get hit with snow over and over again for 3 or 4 days. I think that we should capitalize on as much money as we can, and really base it on if these items are passed by the Ohio Budget Management, then we should go ahead and try to get the maximum for our departments.
I understand now, we have not received that confirmation back from the Office of Budget Management.
Okay.
So they did reach out to them to get an opinion on this specific purchase, but they've not heard back from them yet.
And I would second that. I mean, if we want to run this up the ladder, and there's somebody above our offices here that say, yeah, it's totally fine, go for it, I'm fine with that, but that's not me saying that, right?
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, I'd say no, but if there's a definition out there that says plow trucks and excavators and, again, I think you could, where's the cutoff? We could get pretty wild with this if we want to,
I'm assuming that they should get word from them shortly. If we wanted to put this off, they could, and then we get word back from Budget Management that it is going to be allowable. They could always include this for next week.
That's fine. I mean, hopefully they don't get sold from under us, and we lose the opportunity to purchase those vehicles. If it is allowable, then, I don't, like I said, I'm not trying to be a wrench in the works here, but again, if that review process comes back and says that they're allowable, then, I'd be fine to go along with it then.
Yeah, I'm willing to postpone a motion for 1 week until we have our due diligence on this.
Well, so what we're trying to do is allow the expenses that we're okay with to be able to go through, and just hold those vehicles and the mini excavator, and we have a resolution set to do that. That way, the only thing that we're really putting off are the vehicles, because there are other things in here that also have, a certain time frame that we want to be able to get moving as well.
Yep, very good. Well, if you want to take a look at either one of those, I'm not sure what they say, but if you want to read them or not, or...
This is the CARES Act resolution that removed the chainsaws, the plow trucks, the F-550, and the excavator. And that total then went from 1,372,549.26 down to the 307,474.13.
Okay.
So it left everything else that the engineer had in there.
Okay.
It just removed those items.
Okay.
And brought their total down from 1,191,279.46 to the 126,000
Yep.
that's on
So you
there.
could make a motion to
Okay.
approve the resolution without the engineer's vehicles.
Okay. I will, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark,
No.
Commissioner Spiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes. Great, thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm here today because we are requesting your review and approval of a change order for our paving project. We did earlier this year, we discovered an area that was about 1,800 square feet of 1 foot depth of bentonite clay, which was deeper than what we had expected. And if we left that clay there, then all the work that we were doing would bump up and really make the whole project not
Sure.
work. So we had to go deeper than we needed to. We thought we needed to initially and had to put some bigger stones in there, thus the change order. So I just came in case you had any questions.
This is the parking area.
Yes,
correct?
it's back
The
by the
drive
bus
and-
garage,
yeah,
correct.
Yep. Very good. Okay,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark,
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
aye.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. You too.
Good morning.
Morning.
Item 6 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and authorize Commissioner Lennon to execute the OPWC Appendix E disbursement in the amount of $75,000 for the Tilden Road Bridge Replacement Project.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Item 7 is requesting the board approve and authorize Commissioner Lennon to execute the OPWC disbursement request form certification number 1 for the asphalt resurfacing of Cades Road in the amount of $157,143.71. This is the first, there will be a second one on this one, the second disbursement.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller.
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Item 8 is requesting the board accept and execute the highway easement between the commissioners and the Miller family to improve Bundyville Road, extending the culvert out of the right of way for the need of the easement in the amount of $200.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Have a good one, guys. All right.
Morning.
How are you?
Well, and you?
Hanging in there.
Good.
That's all you can do.
That's right.
So, this request is for the board to authorize Jerry to execute some housekeeping for the software program that's called Ocean that allows us to manage our grants with the state. And there's certain reports that have to be completed. And the user roles change when people come into the department or leave the department. We have to update those user roles. And so this is asking your permission to have Jerry authorize those changes to the user roles.
Okay. Great.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Steve. Thanks, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
I have a few items today for the board.
Yes, you do.
So number 11, we're requesting the board approve and execute agreement between the county and Gutowski and Associates for easement boundary and location survey services to the county for parcel in Parkland Township. It's a parcel that's owned by the county. We have a lift station on there, and we want to sell that parcel because there's a house on there that's not being used, and the county's not in their own business, so we
Yeah.
could bring in some income.
Okay, very good.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Numbers 12 and 13 are basically the same, but we're requesting our disbursement reimbursement from the government funding agencies for the loans for the fund we already issued out. The first one, 12, is from the Ohio Water Development Authority Fund, and that's our payment request number 5 for the Auburn project. So we received back $154,158.24. Number 13 is to the OPWC. We have to split them up proportionately when we ask for our disbursements back.
Okay.
And the second one, like I said, is from OPWC, Ohio Public Works Commission. It's also for Auburn treatment plant. That one is for $145,000.
Okay. Any questions? No. Motion, please.
Make a motion on 12 and 13.
Second?
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Okay, number 14's are a little more difficult here. And August 12th, 2020, we received a letter from the EPA, an opportunity to confer on a consent order agreement on McFarland wastewater treatment plant to make substantial repairs due to the effluent exceedances, the sanitary storm overflows, and bypassing that has occurred down there.
So they have done inspection of that, and they want you to,
It's based on the reporting over the last
Okay.
several years.
okay.
And to be honest with you, what's interesting, myself and the sanitary engineer, we were looking to do this anyhow in the next few years.
Okay.
But, we'd rather do it without a consent order, but it's something that has to happen.
So do you know roughly, how much this is gonna impact that on the budget there for you? Or you don't
I
know?
can't give you an educated
Not
guess
yet.
right now.
Okay.
It'll be substantially more than we've spent in the past, but stuff that has to get done.
Just curious.
This is the county's membrane system. It's been trouble since the day it was put in. And it was a new technology that was brought in
Yeah.
years ago, and we just have issues with trying to get the flow through the membranes that we need to get through when it rains. And
Right.
that down.
This is one that floods a lot, or if it,
It doesn't flood a
Or
lot,
not.
but occasionally it's overcome by the
Yeah.
influent that comes in.
okay,
And when the wastewater can't be passed through the primary treatment, it gets
Yeah.
bypassed. And while it does get some treatment in the UV room, it really goes out to the watershed.
so, I mean, you guys, the water resources, you're always trying to stay ahead of this anyway before it gets to where the EPA is asking.
Yeah, we had
We
seen
were
this,
shocked.
like I said,
Yeah.
this was complete surprise, because usually you'll get a notice from the
Ohio.
state EPA that the feds are looking at something.
Uh-huh.
They never had anything, it just came straight from the feds.
No
It's
kidding.
like a light bulb.
Huh.
Which received a
Right.
phone call from me to the state. They said they had no idea.
And they don't give you a notice of it, like, do they actually come out and do an inspection?
Just
or-
based on the reporting that's done up to the EPA.
Oh, okay.
Based on the discharge reporting that happens.
Oh, I see. Okay,
So,
okay.
But like Steve said, we've been looking at this one as a project going forward, the next 4 or 5
Anyway.
years anyway.
Okay.
Because
Good.
it's too much of a pain to keep operating that plant as it is. When we go back to traditional extended aeration, which is tried and true, and it still works, even though it's 30-year-old technology, it still works.
Still works, yeah.
Right, and it also impacts the electrical costs. If we get rid of membranes, we drop substantially on electricity costs. And it will only have to be manned 24 hours.
What were the ones the real, like the sand-based ones or whatever, that you've been eliminated all of those, right?
Well, we have
Or
small
most-
ones for communities out there, sand
Yeah.
beds, but for the large ones, no, we would do the extended
Okay.
area sludge.
Sand is still,
Principle.
that's the tertiary, that's the secondary treatment.
Okay.
That takes out any solids that's in the system.
I see.
What we've done over the time is on several of our plants, we've replaced them with disc filters, which are membrane
Mhm.
systems. They're just a different membrane system than what we have in the
Okay.
So it puts out perfectly clear water, takes out all the
Gotcha.
solids.
Yeah.
Does a great job, so.
Yeah, and then with the new, with the plans we have, we will have a lot longer retention time and capacity, so when we do get these seemingly 1,000-year rainfall events
Every other year.
6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll be able to hold on to that and not bypass, which is a huge thing, a huge aspect. One key thing, Jerry and I have worked with EPA, we've had several phone conversations with Chicago, and we put together a general plan, and I can provide that to you. It shows a proposed timeline, what we're agreeing to. Nothing's written in stone, but it's our goals to move forward under the plan we put together. I can share that with you if you want to see that.
One of our possible solutions with this also is to be able to try to get out of the Chagrin Falls deal that we have.
Yeah.
That if we can, at the same time, change that to pump station and pump it to McFarland, we're adding the capacity at the time, that would give us the chance to get out of that too.
Yeah, we wickered that in the plan.
Yeah. Have you heard any movement on that? I know it was aggressive there for a while as far as.
Well, we did approve here in session to pay 22% of the phase one costs, which was several $100,000.
Yeah.
Which were true upgrades at the plant,
Yeah.
so.
The second phase,
Justify the second phase they have, we still have issues and we're still fighting.
So we were, by contract, 20% of the expenses to run that plant, correct? But we're not, are we an equity share owner,
Yes,
20%?
when any improvements, they assert that we're supposed to.
Do we
pay.
own, okay, so we own 20% of that plant, basically?
That's still the fight.
Yeah.
is that we don't actually
Yeah.
own 20%.
Yeah.
And the
We're
agreement
just a-
talks about substantial improvements have to be coordinated, agreed to. You know, the $2.5 million project is not routine maintenance.
No,
It's
no.
substantial, and we disagree
Yep.
vehemently
Yep.
with that, so.
Well, that's been going on since I got here, I know that, so,
Do we get 20% of the profit?
Oh, heck no.
yeah.
Actually, I pay them on top of that for
I know we-
portion of the sewage is treated.
Yeah,
Well,
that's one of the things we've been trying to work with them too, is to change if we can't get out of it, to change the agreement so that we're just treated like another customer as opposed to.
Right, right.
And we don't provide 22% of the flow. Our highest amount of, the highest contribution to their plan has been 15% here and there.
Even with storm, because they measure that, right? They-
You know,
yeah, you're
we-
supposed
we've
to.
had big
Because
fights.
what we have is, even when it's storming, it's storming in Chagrin Falls too.
Yeah.
So they're having the same issues, so their flows go up the same rate ours go up.
That's right.
It's not.
That's right.
Yeah. It's been a challenge.
Okay.
So this, signing this consent order agreement will allow us to work with the EPA on meeting some milestones and getting McFarland squared away the next 3 to 4 years.
Excellent. Okay, motion please?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Okay, my last item, which is not on here, I need 2 new vehicles under the COVID funding.
Hey, why not? What else?
No problem.
I'll be on your desk when you
Yeah.
go over there.
That's
Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. You made me laugh.
The next item is 9. It's a request to approve a resolution to establish changing the location of our meeting next Thursday to Building 8 to accommodate the presentation by Juniper Solutions on the strategic plan for economic development.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, what did you
They're going to do
say?
the findings
Okay,
and recommendations on the strategic plan for community development. So I'm asking for a resolution to move our meeting from next Thursday to Building 8, to use the big projector screen and accommodate additional people that may.
oh, I see, okay. So, we're moving, so our meeting next week will be Thursday?
Yes, because of the holiday
Oh.
on Monday. So our meeting
Gotcha.
has already been changed to Thursday, the
Okay.
7th January.
Okay.
I'm just changing the location to Building 8, following planning commission.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Okay, the next 2 items have to deal with the building project. The first item is an assignment and consent agreement to assign and transfer the project, the agreement, the CM agreement from Don Lee's Incorporated to Don Lee's Independence. There are some gentlemen here from Don Lee's. I don't know if you want to explain what occurred. That's
Yeah, Greg Consolo.
Hi Greg, how are ya? Good to see ya.
So on the first, about a month ago, the company, the Construction Management Group, all intact with Donnelly's Incorporated, was sold to the DeGeronimo family of companies under Donnelly's. It'll operate under Donnelly's Independence Limited Liability Company.
Mhm.
So it's all legal, so it's really just a housekeeping transfer. All the people stay the same, team we have for the project stay the same. It's really just a legal entity. And we did this for a couple reasons. It expands the markets that we can work in, the type of projects we can also work on, and it's part of the succession planning. So that was the reason for it.
And I know-
It's a larger companies.
Independence and Donley have had a long
Long-standing
history of
50-year
partnership together.
relationships.
Yeah, both very well respected in Cleveland and around the north, around the region. And you guys do a lot of high-profile projects, and we're very excited to have Donley's and now Independence involved in that too. They're both very reputable outfits there.
Thank you.
Um,
Other questions?
This is just the agreement, so if you want to.
Okay.
First.
So I will read 16. The Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute the assignment, assumption, and consent agreement to assign, transfer, and set out over all of Donley's Incorporated rights and obligations to Donley's Independence, LLC, under the Construction Management Agreement for Consolidated Geauga County Office Building.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Levin?
Yes. And then,
And then the next item is actually the amendment number 1 to the construction manager's agreement to do the guaranteed maximum price for phase 1, which is the site work, the building steel, building concrete, and missing site paving. So that's coming out of a little over $8.8 million.
so I looked at that list. It's pretty thorough, what you had sent us, and that's all the items, big ticket items that you would have to order, like steel packages, beams, and custom whatever, all the everything basically,
Yes,
the nuts and
It's
bolts.
the long lead items, that's why it's being done.
Long lead items.
And obviously the excavation starts to work through as the weather is
Right.
hopefully still holding for us.
And so that amount, I noticed, and thank you for this, but I noticed it was reduced from close to about $1 million from the previous proposal, correct?
Correct. Across, we set our goals high across, scope, schedule, and cost, and with the bidding process and great drawings, the numbers did come in lower than expected.
Excellent.
So the team's pretty proud to be here
Yeah.
today.
And that's,
with this milestone.
and that's the guaranteed not to exceed, and potentially could be savings in there as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, That's a guaranteed maximum price for the first phase of work that we're asking for.
Excellent.
To start
Okay.
the work.
Very good.
And this will start the design of the steel, and then the steel is
Shop
usually
drawing process.
3 months lead time for the steel.
But they signed them this morning, so they don't.
Yeah, steel would be arriving on site with, on trucks in February next year.
Okay.
It sets up that process, like you're saying.
Okay, great.
Excellent. That's exciting. Thank you, guys. I know there's been a lot of work getting to this point, so that's a big jumping off point, no doubt.
It has.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Levin?
Yes,
All right.
that's great.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. You can go vote if you want, real quick.
Couldn't find a place to
If you live in
Yeah.
Geauga.
From the looks of it, I don't think it'll be quick.
No, yeah. That's right. That's right. Okay, so is there any old business? Any new business? No? With that being said.
Thank you.
We'll be adjourned.
We'll be adjourned.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great, thank you all. Oh, yeah, here. That's pretty amazing, huh?
Now it's real.
It's real. That's real.
Hey, question,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah?
Last week, I thought I heard that the original spending for CARES was like what?
They've gotten three.
We just got
there's been
another.
3 payments.
Okay, but, all right, so now I'm confused, because how much was received, like about $1.2 million, $1.6 million?
Originally?
The first
Well,
2
There
payments, yes.
was the first receipt was a little over 800,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was a little over 800,000. The second was a little over, I think it was close to 450,000.
yeah, okay,
And then this most recent one is 3.3 million.
okay. All
The
right.
governor just
So-
signed
You just
House
said,
Bill 614 last Thursday, which released the 650 million, which is the 3.3 million that we got this morning.
Okay. And this other thing, you mentioned, issues with the Chagrin Falls sewage plant?
that's with regards to wastewater treatment. Our portion of our sewer system down in Bainbridge, by the Chagrin Falls Park and the Judson Senior Center that's down there, the sewage from that area, we have an agreement with the city of Chagrin Falls to send sewage to them. They treat that wastewater, their wastewater plant.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, but when that plant was upgraded years ago, we've been in the 60s, I think, or 70s, and the sewer system was going in Chagrin Falls Park. The county signed an agreement with the village to take that, and then at that time, we paid for 22% of the upgrade costs to that plant. What the argument has always been is the city, Chagrin Falls feels like we own 22% of that plant, but we don't own 22% of that plant. We just paid for 22% of the upgrades early on, but we actually only send about 15% of the flow to that plant on a regular basis.
Okay, and then you mentioned getting out of the contract.
That would be if we could take that sewage and pump it to McFarland, which we operate and maintain, then we no longer need to have that agreement with Chagrin Falls.
Okay.
But
So, but
that's
then it would
that's
be-
down the road
That's-
in a year, yeah.
Okay, that's wishful thinking
Yeah.
kind of thing. And that would involve an upgrade of McFarland?
Yes, which we're gonna be doing some upgrades to McFarland anyway, that was the consent order that was there, so.
They came to
Okay.
survey.
It needs some upgrades anyway. So what we're looking at is possibly part of that design and upgrade would be to add that capacity in at McFarland that would allow us to pump the Chagrin Falls Park and Judson area to McFarland.
Yeah, so we can just pick it up.
Okay, and mention of Troy Oaks, is that further expansion, Troy Oaks?
No, that's the project that's currently going on, that was the upgrade of the Auburn Corners and converting Troy Oaks to a pump station and pumping it over to Auburn Corners.
Okay, when will that be done? Or when will that
That's
be?
almost done as it is.
I know.
They've been working on it for about a year now. So actually, the force main went in across the causeway about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We wanted to put that in. We were pretty sure that we weren't gonna have any problems, but we wanted to put that pump station, or put that force main in before we designed the pump station, in case we ran into something that wasn't on any of the soil borings or any of the original construction drawings from the causeway. If we, because the thought was, what if we spend a bunch of money designing this whole thing, and then we get out there and put the force main in, and we run into, for some reason, back when they put that causeway in, ODOT decided to put in concrete pylons that we didn't know about, that weren't on their plans or anything like that. So we got the force main in, so that we knew we would have the force main before we spent the time doing the upgrade designs.
All right, so is there still room for expansion at Troy Oaks?
Troy Oaks
Yes, it's
the
time
pump
anyway.
station is being designed for what is currently there and what is planned to be there, and has always been planned to go to the original